So spring is here, and it's a great time to divide perennials. The other day we took these little Carlo aster, and it was a clump about yay big, and we divided into 24 different plants. 3 of them are here. We're going to leave them in the pot for a bit and let them grow, and then they'll be good to give to friends. We're going to talk about 2 different kinds of perennials today. When I talk about different kinds of perennials, I mean sort of ways of dividing them. Different root systems mean that you do things in different ways. So first we're going to look at double-flowered meadowsweet, which is a beautiful little plant. It has white flowers that feel like touching a cloud. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work our way around this plant because we want as many long roots as possible. Most folks use a shovel, but I want long, healthy roots. And I always wear steel-toed boots when I'm doing this, so that if I want, I can use my boot as a fulcrum. And then what's going to happen is this is going to lift right out of there like that. I'm going to just stab it. It looks very heartless. And then I'm going to put in another fork, back to back. I'm going to pull it apart. I'm going to put my boot in there, and I'm going to pull it back together again. And that's going to weave those roots. See how the roots are all intact still? That's beautiful. And we're going to be cutting off any old rotten growth. And we're just going to kind of unweave the plants, taking them down to between 3 and 5 stems per plant. Although if it comes apart more than that, that's fine too. So, trusty secateurs, and just cut that off. Now, one of the things that's very important is stress reduction. On a regular basis, I'm just going to wet those roots while I work on the next batch. Just shaking the soil off, feeling where this plant wants to divide, and I'm just guiding them apart. Just like that. And from that one little clump, we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants. When we plant them, we're going to put them about a foot apart and plant them so that the crown is just exposed in the dirt. And then we're going to water them, and then we're going to give the rest away. So some plants like Bergenia and Heuchera or coral bells tend to grow themselves right out of the ground. So you get an exposed crown, and eventually that can cause the plant to lose vigor. So this guy here is a Bergenia, and we've already loosened up the soil around him. So he'll just pop right out, and then we abuse him a little bit, get some of that excess soil off of there. And as we get in here, he's almost made himself into several plants, but you can see how his stem is exposed. So what we're going to do is actually just gently tear this guy all apart, shake off all the extra soil so that we can see what we're doing here. Now this plant has actually started to grow, so we're right at the edge of when is a good time, or the best time. Next step is going to be to clean off all the old growth, and now we're left with this guy here. And we want to cut off the old material, but we don't want to cut off too much. When I see this being this long, I know that I probably should have done this a while ago. So we're going to see what we got if we take this fella off. That's not bad. Now when we plant him, in fact, why don't we go ahead and do that? It's not going to be what you think. We're actually going to plant him on a bit of an angle so that this is just at ground level, and the tuber, well, I guess technically it's a rhizome, runs just underneath the surface. And then, since we care a lot about stress reduction, we're going to water that right away And then we're going to water these guys just to keep them healthy. They're not going to do much this year, but next year they'll take off. Remember, with perennials, they sleep, they creep, then they leap.